What's at you? Season 8 premiere months. Time I spoke to you guys, I had Matthew on the show, and we were talking about the Knicks. And at the time, we had the Mets and Yankees both for first place. So we got both the Yankees and Mets battling for playoff position. Yankees seem to be closer to being back in. Last time I checked, there were 2 games behind the Blue Jays. But the Mets look like they're faltering as I'm watching the game right now. As I'm talking to on this podcast, I'm watching them. They're going to go down 10 games. The division is over for them. So I'll talk more about them a little bit later. But I'm just hyped to be back with you guys after a long hiatus. Me and Joey G will be back next week with an episode ourselves. We're going to talk about some WWE action. But yeah, let's talk about what's going on right now. NFL season just started. The Jets and Giants both start off with a dud, albeit the losses are slightly different. The Jets had their opportunities to win the football game, whereas the Giants just pretty much looked lost on offense. Expected their defense to stand their heads with the Commanders quarterback, which I'm kind of slow tonight, guys. But we are definitely live. But the Washington quarterback is. Sorry, guys. But Washington has definitely a great offense with that young quarterback. So definitely you gotta Jaden Daniels. You got Jaden Daniels back there on the center. It's not going to be an easy game to win. The Washington Commanders are being coached by Dan Quinn. The team looks great, and for the Giants not to have an offensive sense of identity. I did watch the game. I was watching both games actually at 1:00, which again I don't agree with the NFL having both New York teams on the same time slot. I don't agree with that. But anyway, Russell Wilson, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, Super Bowl MVP. He struggled this first game with the Giants. You got a great receiver, Malik Neighbors to throw the ball to. You got Wan'Dale Robinson. You got Darius Slayton. As I was watching that game, I don't know if you Giants fans noticed, Darius Slayton did not have a catch in that ball game. As Alvarez struck out again. Anyway, Darius Slayton did not have a catch in that ball game. Why hasn't he got a caught a pass in that game is beyond my comprehension. Before the season started, I had placed the Giants as my sleeper team in the NFC East. But after watching for week 1, I don't know. This calls for Jaxson Dart to be a starting quarterback for next week's game against the Cowboys. But we the Cowboys got their own issues. They traded away Michael Parsons, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Anyway, I like the approach the Giants are taking. I like the approach that Brian Daboll is taking, albeit his job is on the line this year. If the Giants don't win, he's not going to have a job. But let's look at things the right way. The Giants are doing it the right way. They're not throwing Jaxson Dart to the wolves of New York media, of the New York spotlight. They're taking their time with him. I do eventually see him taking over the team. I would say if things continue to go the way they're going, week 6. The latest. I mean the latest. Week 6. The earliest I can see it happen in week 3. If Russell Wilson doesn't wake up. But I think he will. I truly believe he will. But there's one thing missing with the Giants is that running game is bad. I seen that running game. When you have two running backs, Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary, combined for 13 carries for 33 yards, that backfield is lacking a whole lot of things. They did play well last season, but they didn't carry it over to this season. So, but the bright spot is Malik Neighbors, 5 catches, 71 yards. Wanda Robinson with 6 catches, 55 yards. And like I said before, Darius Slayton had no catches. No catches whatsoever. So it's back to the drawing board with the Giants. At least they don't have to worry about Michael Parsons hunting down Russell Wilson next week against the Cowboys. You don't have to worry about that. He was traded over to Green Bay. So a good thing not to have him on the team, but like I said, this NFC East division is going to be the Commanders and the Eagles battling it out. I'm hoping the Giants can sneak in. I'm not a Giants fan, but I don't hate the Giants. Mind you guys, I don't hate the Giants. However, I did pick them to be a sleeper team this season. I did. I really did. So I'm going to move on from that. As you know, they lost 21-6. Guys know the score. Let's move on. Now we got the New York Jets. This is what I want to talk about here. All the hoopla, all the storytelling. You got all the stories. Aaron Rodgers coming back. Justin Fields playing against his old team, the team that replaced him after 5 weeks as starting quarterback. A lot of intrigue, a lot of pressure on Justin Fields, and he didn't play his best game, but he wasn't bad either. He had a QB rating of 119, which is pretty good for week one. Did a lot of which probably would have to run to run up to the line. You're going to do that anyway if you threw it to Garrettwilson, but I feel that the more yardage would have happened if had Garrettwilson catch that ball, But like I said, Aaron Rodgers got his revenge against the New York Jets. They beat the Jets 34-32. The Jets did have, I believe, I was trying to remember the game, a 10 point lead up until Gibson fumbled that football during the kickoff. You can't do that. This guy has a history of fumbling the football, and guess what, guys? He got cut today. He got Aaron cut him. And we're going to talk about that soon. But I want to get back to when I was watching the pregame show on SNY with Bart and williecolon, and Bart was pretty much saying that the Jets didn't do Aaron Rodgers right, which I kind of disagree. Only because when a new coach comes in and asks you, would you like to play for the team, and you said I'm interested, that's not a good sign for me as a new coach coming in trying to prove myself as a head coach. I'm asking you a question whether or not you want to play for the team, and you tell me I'm interested. That's not a good sign. It's not somebody I want on my team. If I was in that position, I wanted a definitive yes, I would play for the team. How can I help you? How can we help each other make the team better? Let's have a conversation. Bart was going on about how they could have cut him over the phone, but I guess in Aaron Glenn's defense, he wanted to feel out Aaron Rodgers in person. See what he was about. See if this guy could be the one he could grow with. And he got his answer, and he cut him as he should. But the Jets moved on from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, after today's game, moved on from the New York Jets. We're on to a new season. But like I said, this is the great thing. Breecehall, everyone was talking about, he's going to get traded. He's not gonna have a good season because he's not gonna have a lot of touches. Breecehall looked like a beast out there in week one against the Steelers. A very good defense. That defense is no slouch. The Jets, the offensive line was pushing that Steeler defense around without AVT, who injured his tricep again, and will be out for the season. AVT, you got to stay healthy. I think you killed your contract chances because of that injury, because you can't stay healthy. But like I said, breecehall had a great game. 19 carries, 107 yards, and 2 carries for 38 yards. You know, listen, give breecehall the ball. I like some things they did on offense. I really did. I really do. The offense, the whole energy around Jets is about aggression. And I say this because Aaron goes for 2 early in the game because they got a penalty that put him at the 1-yard line. What would be a good way to show your team that you have faith in your team and to instill confidence in your team is to go for 2 at the 1-yard line. Now, people, we have some lovely Monday morning quarterback Jet fans here on Facebook who was picking on Aaron Glenn, saying, why did he go for two points twice? I don't know if you guys watched the game fully. Folk Hero did miss an extra point. All right. I like Nick Folk. I'm glad to have him back, but he missed a extra point. So the Jets have to make up some points with the second 2-point conversion. First 2-point conversion was active aggression. Early in the season, they wanted to deliver a message, make a statement with that decision. I don't blame Aaron Glenn for that at all. I mean, if Bill Parcells was still coach, he would have done the same exact thing. And I bet you those same Jet fans who have the certain pigmentation would not have said a word if Bill Parcells did it, but they got a problem with Aaron Glenn did. Okay? They were saying a lot of stuff on. They said, I'm glad Aaron Glenn. I've never want to see a guy get cut from a football team. Aaron Glenn was preaching accountability. If you fumble a ball that costs you the football game, change the time of the football game. The Jets was on a momentum. They were getting ready to seal that game, and that fumble messed up everything. For the New York Jets. Okay. Aaron Glenn did what he was supposed to do, made an executive decision, held Gibson accountable. Gibson's no longer on the Jets. Okay? It's real simple. He's the head coach. He has to set a statement. He definitely sent a statement to the locker room. We're not going to accept mistakes. I mean, everybody fumbles the ball. But the timing of the game, it was not necessary to fight for extra yards. Secure the ball, get tackled, let the offense go out there and do their thing, because the Steelers defense, as great as they are, was not stop that Jet offense. The only time they stopped the Jet offense was at the end of the game. So I like Jermaine Johnson came back. He looked fresh. Most people, when they come off Achilles injuries, they don't come back the way he came back. That game, he had a lot of energy. Showed a little bit of rust. He got some pressures on Aaron Rodgers. No sacks. Will McDonald, my man, he got like 2 sacks. And the Williams brothers, Quinnen and Quincy, got 1 each. I like this Jet defense. The defense is going to be better than what they were last season, but they have a big problem in that defense. Very big problem in that defense is you see the drop-off from going from DJ Reed to Brandonstephens. It was only 1 game. The dramatic drop-off. Sauce Gardner improved his play. He's back to being Sauce Gardner. I'm not going to call him Ahmad. He's back to being Sauce Gardner. And but Stevens was getting beat, blown coverage, bad pass interference calls that enabled the Steelers to continue their drives. You can't give Aaron Rodgers too many chances to score. Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in that game, 244 yards. And every time DK Metcalf, every time Kevin Austin was being guarded by Brandonstephens, they went ham. That was the only time they were getting some wide open looks to getting the ball thrown to them because Aaron Rodgers was not throwing that sauce. He was not throwing that sauce. He's been that man's teammate. He knows what sauce is about. He wasn't doing it. Just feels great using his, like I said, using his legs, good decision making. He had a beautiful, beautiful pass to Garrettwilson for that first Jet touchdown. People were making fun of him because he couldn't throw a spiral, but he threw a pretty ball to Garrettwilson, that touchdown. Threw a lot of window passes. You know, I'm not gonna make fun of Mike Francesa, the window thrower, but he threw the ball some tight spaces to the tight ends. Rucker had a good game. I mean, albeit he had 2 catches, but blocking wise, and Mason Taylor also, I can see the Jets running some crazy 2 tight end when it comes to the end zone, 2 tight end offense type situation. I would do that, and then I would utilize Breecehall when it comes to goal line situations as a receiver. Hold on, guys. I'm watching the Met game as we play another home run. Oh boy, it's getting bad out there in Philly. Bryce Harper hit a home run. It's down 9-1 Phillies, bottom of the 7th. Don't worry, guys. I will talk about the Mets. Just hold on. Now, I felt it was a missed opportunity because you're going to face the Buffalo Bills, who came from behind and beat the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Big win for the Bills. Everyone's saying that they're the Super Bowl favorites. I kind of agree with that. But the Jets, the missed opportunity. They could have won that. They should have won that game. I'm not saying they're better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but in the whole realm, the whole air of that game, they should have won that football game. This is like this game right here was like, I would compare it to the energy of that first game in 1998, Jets versus 49ers, Glenn Foley and Steve Young. That type of energy. If you watch that game, a lot of mental breakdowns in the Jets in that game. A lot of mental breakdowns in this game from this Jet team. And guess who's the common denominator in both of those teams is the head coach. First, when he was a player, all-pro cornerback, and now he's a head coach. Now, I'm not saying the Jets, this Jet team's going to the AFC Championship game. I'm not saying that. I may be too optimistic about this new Jet team. But this team, the energy that I'm feeling from this team is 1998-ish. 1998-ish. If this team could do something close to what the 1998 Jet team could do, hey, we found our franchise head coach. I'm just putting it out there. Let's put positive energy out there. Screw those negative Jet fans who want to call saying that where's Aaronglenn's accountability for going for 2 twice? Man, shut up. Shut up. You remember that fake spike game, that 1994 game when they blew a 24-3 lead? He was the only defensive player playing on that fake spike play. And he got burned. And what happened after that? All-pro cornerback for the next 6-7 years in a row. After that. So leave Aaronglenne alone, guys. He may not be your cup of tea. Maybe you want some cream in your coffee, but we got the coffee black. And that's who's running the Jets. Period. Grow up, root for your team, no matter who the coach is, no matter what his permutation is. Root for your goddamn team. Stop nitpicking. Shit. Like I said, they're going to be playing the Bills next week. But the one glaring need, I think the Jets, there's a glaring need in the New York Jets team right now. They do need a second receiver Reynolds is not doing it for me. Arian Smith, I think, could use some more time as a receiver. And who I've talked, see these receivers no names. I know it's Reynolds. They did pick up somebody after the game from someone's practice squad. I think Ty. Their first name is Ty. I don't remember. It's too late when I haven't been sleeping, so a little bit off today, guys. But I'm so excited to come back to you guys in season 8. Get this premiere up and running, and go from there. Let's go over the stats for the New York Jets game. 16 for 22 for Justin Fields, 218 yards. 3 total TDs, 12 carries, 48 yards for Justin Fields. The dual threat quarterback could run the football, throw the football. He just needs another receiver to throw the ball to, and he got the tight ends are set. But he needs a second receiver to go with Garrettwilson. I can definitely see a situation where coverage will start to roll over to Garrettwilson. So on that note, I will definitely come back. I'm going to come back. Stay tuned because we're going to change up things for this season. A lot of my preview for the games will be on my Facebook page, the True Players Podcast Facebook page. So if you're not following it, if you're not a follower, if you don't like that page, you may not be able to see my previews on that page. It's going to be alive because for some reason Instagram screwed up and now we can't go live unless you have 1,000 followers. Now I'm blowing up my spot because I don't have 1,000 followers. But, I'll get there. Trust me, I'll get there. But anyway, as we shift from football now to baseball, as I tell you, the Mets are down 9-1. Looking at 10 games behind the Phillies for the NL East. But remember what I said earlier in the podcast. Last time I was on the podcast with you guys, the Mets were 45-24. Best team in the National League at the time. 5.5 game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies. The last time I've been on the podcast. I'm back on the podcast for the premiere of season 8. They're going to end up 10 games back in first place. 10 games over 500. I can say a lot of things about why the season turned the way it turned. I'm going to say one thing, though. I did not know Graphic Canning was that important to that team. I think the team changed when he got injured. He was out for the season. The fortunes changed. However, there's a ray of hope at the end of the line because we brought up our 3 kids to start: Brandonsproat, NolanmcClean, and Josh Tong. I think McLean is the real deal. The man could throw 5 pitches. He has 5 A+ pitches with spin rates. I think someone just hit a home run here. Juan Soto pursuing 40-40. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Like I said, the kids is going to be the reason why the Mets make it to the playoffs. The same way Lugo and Gesellman, that 2016, led the Mets to the playoffs with Syndergaard. But McLean, man, he's the real deal. He's the real deal. And the fact that he lost to the Phillies, well, he didn't lose to the Phillies. He lost to the Reds. No, he lost to the Phillies. I'm sorry, guys. He lost to the Phillies. 1-0. Going 6 innings. And that Philly team is a great team. Let's not throw darts at Philadelphia. They got a great team over there. albeit without Zach Wheeler, it could be it's going to be bad for them because Zach Wheeler's out with the thoracic outlet syndrome for the rest of the season. That was their ace, but Aaron Nola is starting to step up and become that ace he once was. Suarez pitched a hell of a game today, shut down the Mets, but nolanmclean throws him over for 95 miles an hour. He has 4 other pitches, breaking pitches, different spin rates, slider, curveball, slurve, changer. And this guy, this has command on that mound. He just has certain command on that mound when I watch him pitch. I was like, damn. And he goes deep into games. 6 innings, 7 innings. And I was always a big proponent. If I was building a baseball team, all this bullpen gamesmanship that they do right now, I don't like it. It takes away from the starting pitching. It takes away from the pitchers to be able to use their guts and pitch through tough times. For me, a quality start is 6 2/3 innings. These guys can barely go 4 2/3 now. And this has been the problem with the New York Mets this entire season. Their bullpen is burned out. They made a bad trade for Helsey. Helsey's trash. While making all these excuses, he's tipping his pitches, all that bullshit. He is trash. Soto, who came from the Orioles, he was pitching great. Now he's struggling because he's been overused. We got Peterson, who was the only one that's going 7 innings. Manaya is struggling. He almost lost his head yesterday, last night's game, because he was struggling. And Carlos Mendoza had to pull him to the side and talk to him. You got to fight through this. You're supposed to be the ace. I understand you got injured early in the season, but you're the ace. Step up. Kodaisenga accepted a demotion to the minor leagues, which I think shows his selflessness as a teammate. But he's a free agent at the end of the season. It's not somebody I'm looking to resign, because with Kodaisenga, every season he starts off great, gets injured, and then he's bad for the rest of the season. For a contending team, you can't have your number 2 pitcher or your 1A pitcher have that type of performance every season. Now, I'm not trying to hate on Japanese pitchers, but I truly believe once you figure them out, they're just ordinary. The only pitcher I think maintained his level of dominance, there's a few of them that did. Yu Darvish is one. Hideo Nomo had to reinvent himself and still maintain that level. Yamamoto, all that hoopla about signing him, I haven't heard much about him from the Dodgers. He could be over 500. I mean, could be pitching well, but I haven't heard nothing spectacular about him. Not on the level of Ohtani. Let's keep it a buck. Not on the level of Ohtani. So, if the Mets make the playoffs, I'm hoping they'll get past that wild card series. I'm just hoping they would. But I have my doubts. Not that I don't believe in them, but I have my doubts. Because the offense has been too much up and down. The only person that's been really consistent was Petealonso. And I'm of the opinion they didn't talk to him about contract. But his age is going to make things difficult. His age is going to make things difficult, and it's going to be a problem. But Pete Alonso really stepped up and had a good season. Had a good season. I would put him up as MVP. But that's going to be tough because he got Juan Soto hitting in front of him. So it's going to be a little bit hard to do that. as Juan Soto, like I said earlier, is pursuing 40-40. You think he's going to make 40-40 this season? He's trying his hardest, but I don't want him to be focused on stats. I want him to be focused on helping his team win and leading them to the playoffs. I don't care about the 40-40. I want one to get on that roll and just carry them through that playoffs with his bat. He's capable of doing that. Damn. Kelsey just got rocked again. Oh boy. But yeah. So what you guys think? Season 8, we're back. True Players Podcast is back. Just stay tuned for the previews before. I haven't decided which date I'm going to do it, but stay tuned. It's going to be on my True Players Podcast on Facebook page, or I may even just drop a video on YouTube and just let you guys take a look at that. But let's talk about other news. Davey Johnson passes away at 82, former New York Met manager. The last New York Met manager to win the World Series at 82. 3 World Series titles for Davey Johnson. 2 as a player, 1 as a manager. As we all know, we also are reminded about the disappointment of those 80s Mets teams. We all know should have won at least 3 or 4 during that decade. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. They should have won 3 or 4. So it goes, the pluses with Davey, got the last World Series win, but should have won more. Davey Johnson is the typical manager that gave you glass half full. But, our praise condolences go out to his family. Like I said, for us, he was a great manager. He was a good manager. Other sports news, Naomi Osaka makes a return during the U.S. Open. I was talking to a coworker, and we were talking about tennis, and it got me back into it. And when I got back, started watching it, I saw her beat Coco Gauff, and then she had that great quarterfinal win against, I forgot the name of the tennis player, but she was hurt. She hurt her thigh during the tennis match, which Naomi took full advantage of. But it's great to see. It's great to see my fellow Haitian sister come back to the Grand Slam, albeit it was semifinals. She made it up to being back to playing great tennis after going through some years of mental health issues, having a baby, and going through all that, and then to further make that comeback and show that resiliency. I'm very happy for her. I'm looking forward to see what she can do for next year, on the World Tennis Tour. I'm really looking forward to see what can happen. And I'm also looking for Coco Gauff to improve. Women's American tennis is in a good place, man. I gotta say that. Better than the men's. The men's, there's no really American guy that stands out like that for me. So it is what it is. And then the Thursday opener, we saw Jalen Carter of the Eagles spit at Dak Prescott, albeit Dak Prescott did spit at him first. But as it goes, is who got caught doing what. And Jalen Carter got caught doing that, and he got ejected from the game. But like I said, the Eagles, defending world champions, pulled it out. They really did pull it out. So, what other things in sports we can talk about? AJ Lee comes back to the WWE after 10 years. Spice up that feud with Seth freaking Rollins and Becky Lynch and CM Punk. But guys, what's going on with my man Jey Uso, the Yeet Man? I don't know. I could see a turn happening, but we will see. But like I said, I'm going to end this podcast now. It's great to be back with you guys. It's better late than never. I'm glad to be back with you guys, represent for True Players Podcast. You can watch the podcast on YouTube at True Players Podcast. Also, you can see it on my Facebook page at True Players Dom on Facebook. Listen to it on Anchor, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Radio. I'm on all those tracks, all those podcast engines. Definitely like, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. We're looking to expand more on the podcast, have different co-hosts on the podcast as well. All time permitting, because we all got busy lives outside of the podcast. So, with respect to everyone's time, I hope to have some great things happen this season with the True Players Podcast. Maybe I get to interview my former coworker, my good friend, I think, in my opinion, the best ER doctor ever. So I hope to have her on the podcast. So we'll see what happens. We don't know what the future holds, but like I said, the future is always bright. You have a positive mindset, and be an uplifting individual. When you're that individual, anything can happen. So on that note, it's your man Big Dom signing off on this podcast. I'll see you guys on the next episode next week. Peace.